the living legend of hair loss? No. The Top Gun Maverick of hair loss is back. The beast is back. I am the beast. And it is true. My 20th high school reunion has occurred. And what's funny is one of the most popular videos I've made was where I shared the video of me giving my speech at my 20th high school reunion. And actually that makes me very proud that that's one of the most popular videos. Not only did that speech mean so much to me, but I actually feel to some degree there's a lot of you who actually don't just reduce me to some hair loss guy, but instead an actual human being who has an actual life. So I appreciate that. So even though I was pretty clear that I didn't really want to talk much about this, in hindsight I'm willing to do it now. People were curious, ultimately, well, what was that like at the 10-year reunion, from a hair loss perspective? And here's what I'm going to say. The guys who didn't have hair already didn't have hair 10 years ago at the 10-year reunion. So it was really no shocker. It's not like suddenly someone just went bald. And that goes back to my theory that basically, if you're going to be balding, if you're going to be the guy who's bald for most of your life, it's most likely to happen by 35. So by 28, pretty much the guys who were heading that direction were pretty much largely there by 28 at the 10-year reunion. I would say this. I would say at age 38, this is pretty typical for a 38-year-old guy. So it's not like I stood out. It's not like it really, and it's also not like the guys who didn't have hair that they stood out anymore. It was very typical situation. The only and there was a lot of guys wearing hats anyway, so who knew, who cared? No one cared who was bald or who had, no one cared. The only time it even came up was, and actually I accidentally started a conversation about it, but there's a guy that I grew up with, and before I left the house to go to the reunion, my mom was had some old VHS tapes playing from when I was a kid. It was my 10th birthday in 1991, way before any of you were born. And it was at a bowling alley, and there was this one kid. And imagine 1991, Google 1991 and look what haircuts looked like that back then. But this one kid had, the epitome of a bowl cut, like the bangs that came straight down, basically, like that. And then it goes around here, but like in the back, it's just like shaved, like mine is. But other than that, it's just a bowl, And so, when I saw the guy at the reunion, I was like, hey, I just saw you in the video, man. You had a bowl cut back in 91. And he started busting out laughing. He says, well, I'm far away from that now. Look, I can barely grow any hair on top now. And he just started laughing, and everybody else started laughing too. And this is a guy who's been shaving his head for a long time. He's a firefighter. And see, that's the whole point. Something that I say again and again on this channel is, nobody cares that you're losing your hair. But they are completely judging you and sizing you up based on your skill set. A man who's confident and owns what he's not good at, but completely owns what he is good at, that is what makes a man confident. So this guy, okay, so what? He doesn't have much hair and he's been shaving his head for years. Who cares? But there's such a level of respect for that guy because he's a fireman and he's good at it and he's known for that. And it's a very masculine thing to be good at, being a firefighter. So yeah, ultimately that's what I'm going to say. Everything I've been saying about hair loss not mattering, it revealed itself there at the reunion. And I think there's these ideas at reunions, people are so judgmental of each other. They're, oh, how'd their life turn out? But you know what? You're a jerk if that's why you go there. The people that I was with at the reunion, we cared about each other. We didn't care about things that didn't go right in somebody's life or how they look, anything like that. It was a matter of, if you're a good human being, you go to a reunion because you care about those people no matter what you look like. That's only a sign of insecurity if you're sizing people up based on, how they physically changed, in the last 20 years or whatever. Like that would, imagine what an insecure failure of a person at age 38 who would go to a reunion and be sizing people up like that. That's not how it is. By the time you're 38, you've got your life largely figured out, and I said that in the speech. So ultimately, what I'm telling you is, no matter what state of mind you are in now as a 16-year-old boy or whatever you are, by the time you're almost 40, you have lived so much more of your life that you actually start understanding what you're good at and what you're not good at. And you can make a joke about the things that you're not good at, and then with confidence, you can talk about the things that you are good at and that do define you. And actually, I was recently on a business trip earlier this week in Houston. And I was there as a recruiter. That's what I am, as a professional recruiter, which is kind of like a salesman mixed with HR. And my job was to help people get applications done. And I explained to them, I said, look, there's a lot of things in life and I'm speaking to like 40 grown men, and I said, there's a lot of things that I'm not good at in life. For example, anything to do with, handyman skills. I can't fix anything at your house. Never ask me to come to your house to fix something. I will only break it and make it worse, which that made them laugh. And I said, so while I'm not good at most things in life, I'll tell you this, I'm good at helping people get these applications done. So I'm going to sit down with you if you need me, and we'll go through this application. We'll get this thing done. It may take a while. They may ask too many questions. I'm going to help you get this application done. And you better believe that they believe me, because I embraced what I was good at, and I made it very obvious that I'm very open about the things that I'm not good at. So that not only goes for skill sets, but I think it also goes for, if you want to put this in the category, your physical appearance. If you need to do this, if you need to put hair in the category of things you're, quote, not good at, some of you could put in the category of that you're too short. That still comes up a bit in the comments. So, I've got a perfect head of hair, but I'm only 5'7". What am I going to do? And what's funny though, my wife, being at the reunion, she did point out, and remember, I'm 5'9". I'm not tall. I'm the same height as Robert Downey Jr. So when you watch Iron Man, think, he's not that tall of a guy, and neither is Nick Shell. But my wife said, yeah, there's just a lot of guys who kind of seem short. And I said, well, look at the picture of us all standing next to each other. The guys that you just named, I'm the same height as them. Every time we get, in high school, we'd end up getting pictures, and those are the guys we were standing up next to because we had to arrange ourselves by height. We're all like the same height, yeah, And I was like, she didn't see me as short, but somehow she saw them. I was like, no. So anyway, it's this concept of you embrace what you're good at, and what you're not, you embrace that too. And you make a joke about it, because remember, men are judged on being funny. There are different kinds of humor, but when you can make a person laugh, you can make them feel good about themselves, and you make them feel good about you. You actually gain respect when you can make a person laugh. And one of the easiest ways to do that is to make fun of yourself for the things that are more obviously that you're not, the master of. You point that out, it becomes funny. But then, when whatever you are good at, when you can speak on that with confidence, I'm the best at this. No, but if the topic comes up, you can say, oh, well, actually, in my experience with that, and you can tell them about that. And just by describing what you know about it, sometimes they establish you as the expert. And that's what you want. You want to know what you're good at. In closing, something that is very obvious to me is that for so many of my viewers, the problem is not hair loss. The problem is, for lack of a better word, a bad personality. You just don't have a good personality. If you don't have a good personality, people won't like you. It's not that they'll dislike you, it's that they won't notice you. Who cares what your hair looks like if you don't have a good personality? But ultimately, when we look at all the studies that show what make men attractive, especially in the eyes of women, hair never makes the top 10 list. But making a woman laugh, Marilyn Monroe herself had this quote, if you can make a woman laugh, you can make her do anything. Now, you can take that on whatever level you want to, but man, is that true. And again, being known is for someone who can help other people, just like the fireman that I'm in. He's a fireman. He helps people in the most masculine way you can help people, saving their lives. Okay? Helping people is something that is very attractive. Being able to help somebody in some kind of way, making life better for other people, men, women, and children. That is very attractive. Knowing what you're good and bad at. So going to my 10 reunion, it was everything I expected as far as all that goes. And, if you want to see what the average 38-year-old guy looks like as far as hair loss, I'm a good mixture of everything. There were some guys that didn't have much hair on top. there were plenty that had a lot more than me. And it just didn't matter because we're grown men who have identities beyond our physical appearance. Your comments belong right here.